Okay, this is just a brief review of the Filmic Pro app. It's a video recording app for iPhone, obviously. The advantage of this over the standard recorder that's built into the phone is that you can select your focus point and lock it, and you can select your exposure and lock it. So for example, if I select the exposure just here, I can move it around to any point I want on the screen. And then I can lock the exposure in by pressing the button down here, and then the exposure will be locked at that point no matter where I put it. Now at the moment I've got it pointed at the screen, and it won't actually try and up the exposure when I move away to the darker areas. So if I took that off, the exposure, as you can see, jumps right up as soon as I move it to a darker area. And that's really good if you're trying to record something and the light's changing, or if your subject's moving around a lot, the exposure can jump around quite a bit. This way you get a steady exposure and it's a lot more configurable. On this side we've got a focus lock, and again, if you wanted to focus on something particular, you place that on you're going to focus on, and then you just lock that in, lock the exposure in, and you're done. I also have a white balance lock just here, and again, if you move it around, turn the others off. If you move that around as well, the white balance is going to shift as I move away from the screen, and if I was pointing it inside and then outside, the white balance would obviously shift as well, so you can lock the white balance in with that. You can't dial a white balance in, but it's a lot better than the standard white balancing. You also just have a quick easy button here to turn the in-camera LED flash on, which is very handy as well. Record button just there, and we're good to go. So that's going to be recording now. Just going to flip over to the iPhone footage for this, and you'll be able to see that's switching backwards and forwards. There we go. And I'll lock that in, and lock that in, and then move it backwards and forwards, and it's not going to shift at all. So it's a very neat little app. It has obvious applications if you're recording videos for YouTube and you want to be able to edit them in a little bit more depth. Then it's nice to be able to lock the focus and exposure. That way you're not going to have the focus jumping if you're, for example, doing a product review of something. The focus, as you move your hand in front of the camera, something will suddenly switch, and can sometimes take a little bit of time to actually get back to where it should be. We have a grid just here, which is to help you line up shots. So using the rule of thirds there, you can make your shots more interesting, is the idea. And there are just some simple settings that you can go to. Something that's very nice with this, you're actually able to, I don't know if this camera's going to pick it up too well, you're able to change the frames per second. So anything from 30, which I think is the standard frame rate, you can drop it right down to 1 frame a second. Now that's particularly good because you can select, say, 24 frames a second, go back, and then it'll be running at the same frame rate as the Canon T2i that I'm recording on at the moment. So you can potentially match that to another camera, and that will save you, not necessarily headaches in post, but it just makes it all a bit neater in your workflow. So apart from that, you've got color bars, which you can drop in at the beginning, and again, that could help you out in post, and maybe you're just looking for something to make it look interesting and cool. And a slate function, which will, if you turn it on, give you an option to number your takes and date the takes, and show all kinds of other information, which is rather handy. Third framing, you can turn it on and off, and you can also put audio meters on and off. You can select manual audio with this, I believe, although let's just take that. So selected the audio meters on just there, and going out there, and we can see the audio meters on here. I can't see a way of actually changing the audio, but it's nice to have a meter all the same. You can change the resolution, and that's pretty much just either at the standard 720p resolution, or you can take it down to a lower resolution. You're probably not going to want to take it down, but if you did, that is there. In-app, you have the ability to upload to YouTube and a host of other services such as Vimeo, which is nice. It says Vimeo Plus on here, so I don't know if you can upload with a standard Vimeo account, or whether you have to have the paid for account. I might give that a test out and see. You upload to Facebook, Dropbox or an FTP server if that's what you're into. All in all, it's a nice little camera app. I think it was £1.79 in the UK Apple App Store, but it might vary depending on where you are in the world. Thoroughly recommend it, and I'm going to be doing a lot more shooting with this one, I think, just because it's so much handier than the actual inbuilt camera.